Raceway Laguna Seca in Monterey, California. And Superbike race number 3 of the weekend, race number 2 of today is getting ready to happen. Welcome everyone to the broadcast booth. I'm Greg White, standing alongside two-time national champ Jason Pridmore. Now Jason, we were treated to a great race just a couple of hours ago, and Bobby Fong walked away victorious.
It was great, and I think the big question is Bobby or Josh going to double up on the weekend, or is Cam Beaubier going to sneak in and make it 3 different winners for us?
It's been a big weekend. Let's start with race number 1 that happened yesterday.
Race number 1. This is Cam Beaubier going up underneath Heron, and about 30 seconds, 20 seconds later, Greg, unfortunately, he lost the front down there in turn 1. He picked it up and salvaged 6th. Bobby Fong brought the fight to Josh Heron all the way to the end, and that's what we were going to have a little bit more of this morning. Heron jumped off the second row, got a nice little lead built up. Bobby Fong just kept plugging along, ran him down, made this pass, Greg, with about 5 or 6 to go, and he was able to get that Attack Performance Yamaha out front, pull away a little bit, and get his first win for his team, with his team.
Good for Bobby Fong. Here's a look at what's going on with Bobby and our inside the numbers. 8 top 5 finishes this season, 6 podiums, and a win. In the last 7 races, 106 points. Bobby, in his first year as a quote-unquote factory Yamaha rider, is really impressing everyone, including his teammate. So after race number 2, MotoAmerica holds a press conference, and we get to listen in on more insight for the top 3 after race 2 finish.
It's not like Josh. Sometimes, you know, he likes to sit back and, you know, play his cards a little bit different, but he had super good pace, and I had nothing for him in the beginning, and then I could see him sliding a little bit at the end, and then, you know, I can manage, you know, the slide a little bit better for whatever reason, I'm not sure, but I could see him coming back a little bit, so that gave me a little more itch to, you know, latch on a little bit closer. But, you know, like to end the weekend on a high, but I'm happy to be up here and just continuing the forward progress and fighting with these two world-class guys, man. They're fast, and it's always a pleasure to be up here with them.
You know, I really wanted to get the whole shot, just kind of like run my pace. I felt like I was going real slow, and those guys were right behind me, and I just started clicking away, 23.7, 23.7, 23.7. It felt super easy, and then all of a sudden I just started sliding everywhere, reduced the TC so it would not hold me back as much, and I was just sliding around like a grease monkey. I was like hearing the thing just howling, like just initial touch of the throttle, bike would kick sideways, and it was howling like I was backing it in, putting a bunch of weight on the tire. So it was pretty nuts because it kicked sideways and then just started spinning. And my hand went super numb trying to fight it. So I just had nothing for Bob. He came by me. I tried my hardest. I dropped like a half second once he got by me and kind of latched on, but he had like 2/10 on me every lap. So at that point, I just wanted to make sure that Cam behind me was staying there and just try to fight him off so we can keep points lead growing a little bit. So pumped to go into race 3 and happy that I'm feeling as good as I am after the get off on Friday.
I was just stuck in those low mid 124s, and that's all I could do. I couldn't go any faster than that. I was just struggling mid and exit right now, trying to find some grip to keep up with these guys. And yeah, we're in a little bit of a tough spot right now, but yeah, we're just gonna keep working hard and see what we can come back with for race 3.
All right, good insight from our top 3. And now as we look at our grid that's formed up, as everybody's hanging out, we go to the 3rd member of our broadcast team, Jamie Howe, who's down underneath the sunshine.
Yes, and Jake Gagne came into this race weekend with 3 consecutive podium finishes, able to finish 3rd yesterday in race number 1, but had to settle back inside of the top 5 here earlier today. I know you've been struggling with confidence under braking. What are you taking now into this final race of the weekend?
Yeah, like you said earlier, it was a little rough on me, but I know this bike's capable. Congrats to Bobby for getting that win. That was killer. And yeah, made a couple changes. Got to step up my game here this 20 laps, I think. So we'll see what happens. I think I'll be in better shape and have some fun.
Have some fun. We'll see what Jake Gagne can do with it, see if he can find himself back up on the podium. Another rider hoping to make a little bit of a step up is Richie Escalante. He's been able to finish 5th and 6th in the first 2 races so far, but he's doing it with an injured right hand, and with this being a triple header weekend, it certainly physically was going to be the toughest one on you with this injury. Richie, how are you feeling now at the end of the day?
Yes, for sure, tough weekend. I'm expecting a little bit better, but after crashing Friday, everything is a little bit more complicated, but my team working amazing. My bike feels so good, and also this morning I have a really decent pace, so I believe I can go a little bit to the front. So I hope to enjoy the race, and my hand is a little bit pain, but I think it's 20 laps, so I just want to enjoy, push, and finish the weekend strong.
Adrenaline does some amazing things. Good luck, Richie.
Yeah, and that was the incident that happened on Friday, and that's right in front of pit lane, and he smacked that hand really hard. All right, let's take a look at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. This racetrack is legendary. It's just a phenomenal place. Some of the best in the world have raced here. 2.2 miles, a lot of left-handers, so the dirt trackers love it. That's 7-8. That's where the corkscrew is. Then down the bottom of the hill into turn number 11. If you leave the door open, you might lose the race. But let's take a look, in a more intimate look at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Jason, we have our Insta 360 track lap.
Yeah, just such a fun place, Greg. You come down that front straightaway, you go up over this rise, under that Mission Bridge, up over the top of here. Bike gets extremely light. Then obviously we've got turns 3 and 4. 2 come out of here in second, up to third, roll this one in third, then up to fifth, down to turn 5. Back a couple gears, and you're going to end up at turn 6 here, Greg, in a second. Under that bridge where everybody's been going over the top of all weekend to come down to the pits. This is extremely uphill on your way up to the famous corkscrew, and then you're on your way down, you hit Rainy Corner, and then a bank turn 10, and then a heartbreaking turn 11 at the end of all this. So never get a chance to really rest around Laguna Seca. It's just a world-famous great place.
Thanks to Jake Gagne for doing that. But this rider, JD Beach, has been having an awesome weekend. Can he get himself another top 10 finish? Maybe top 5. We'll find out after this.
MotoAmerica Superbikes is brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series. By Law Tigers, America's motorcycle lawyers. And by NXT Bets. Play MotoAmerica for cash, multiple race classes, live on top sports books and DFS platforms all season long.
Welcome back to MotoAmerica Live Plus. We are moments away from race 3 of the Superbike races at Laguna Seca, and the bikes will be about to go out for their warm-up lap. One thing that I was certainly happy about in race 2 is that we didn't have any crashes, because race 1 saw a number of bikes unfortunately not finishing that race, but it was good to see everyone healthy and all the bikes in great condition, because they wouldn't have had long to turn those bikes around. One rider in particular, Sean Dylan Kelly, he didn't manage to finish race 1, and they had to do a lot of work to his bike overnight. Sean hasn't podiumed yet this year, Roger, but we did see him with a fantastic win in his rookie season last year. What do you think he needs to do differently, or perhaps get right in this race 3 to try to get from 4th, as he just was earlier, to on top of the box?
I think just get a good start and latch on to the top 3 guys and be able to go with them. He has showed he's got the pace. He's qualified on the front row a couple times this year. He's been up there in the sessions. He's qualified on the front row this weekend. Just get a really good start and be there those first couple laps. Don't put yourself in a deficit after 2 or 3 laps and then you're trying to recover, because these guys are too good for that.
Okay, another rider who hasn't had the best weekend so far is Hayden Gillam. He's number 69 here on his Fireblade Honda. I do love that bike. But Hayden's had a few bike issues in both this race and in the baggers, so he's focused. He's been having a tough one. It would be really great to see if he can get things right. How do you feel Hayden's doing so far in this Superbike championship?
Well, I think him and the team's doing great. The last round, they were really competitive. This weekend hasn't gone as good as the Ridge, but it's great to see what Hayden's been able to do. He's been really fast. It's also really cool to see Honda back in the game and how much effort they're putting into this Superbike program with Hayden Gillam. And he's had a tough weekend, but now he gets another race to try to end the weekend on a high.
Indeed. A couple of others that had issues in race 1. Ashton Yates. He had a crash, but they did actually think something was wrong with the bike, and they ended up making some changes. He looked a lot happier after the warm-up session this morning. And Benjamin Smith, something's been happening all season long with his electricals. And so that's just been a constant working on the bike, getting used to finding out new data from every race. And with that, having 3 races over a Superbike weekend, it helps in terms of the data, doesn't it?
Yeah, it gives you just more opportunities to get out and make changes to your bike and more track time to see if those changes are better. So you get a lot of opportunities, a lot of laps to make things better.
Okay, well, it's going to be 2 Californians, Bobby Fong, Cameron Beaubier, and of course Josh Herron. We'll see what happens.
Welcome back to WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca here in Monterey, California. As Superbike race number 3 is on deck. Play MotoAmerica for cash. Superbike baggers and Super Sport Series are now live on top sportbooks and DFS platforms. Scan the flow code or visit nxtbets.com/PlayMA to see what's available in your location. Sign up, claim exclusive bonuses, and make your picks now. Starting grid, Beaubier, Fong, and Kelly on the front row.
Then we're going to have Josh Herron, Gagne, and Hayden Gillum. Back to row 3 and 4, we got Escalante, Cornbell Beach, Benjamin Smith, Ashton Yates, and Danilo Lewis. Flinders, Waters, Lampkin, Dion Campbell, and Gianotto are going to round out our field. I mean, you know, Greg, the thing that I look at when I look at this grid is just how good Herron is getting this bike off the line. And you see him here jumping off the bike, readjusting, I guess.
Probably.
He's got to get a good start. I mean, the front row, if they can get off I'd love to see Bobby lead into turn 1, see what he can do from the front. And for Cam, let's hope that they give him a little bit more confidence in the bike.
20 laps scheduled for Superbike race number 3 here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Revs are up. Here we go, up the hill, over the top, and into turn number 2 we go.
Josh didn't get the launch that he normally gets, so it looks like right now he's in 4th, and we're going to have Cam Beaubier leading the way over Bobby Fong. Look at Herron trying to go around the outside of Gagne. He's going to make this work too. He just let go of the lever, Greg, and went right around the outside of Jake Gagne. And now he's going to make a pass on Bobby Fong, or attempt to. Gets really tight down in there. Not quite able to get through. So Herron's in 3rd. Cameron Beaubier leading. Let's see if Cam can get in any kind of flow here.
We're going to see what the Tytler Cycles team has been able to work on over the last couple of hours with the number 6. Finally getting it done in front of his home crowd, but we know what kind of pace the riders behind him have. So up the hill we go for the first time with Cameron Beaubier leading, and there goes Herron. What a pass that was. Whoa.
That is just, when you're doing that, that's just pure ambition, wanting to get to the front and not wanting to give any of these guys hope. And you see Bobby Fong has a look back down the inside of Herron, coming down through Rainey. You see SDK's got through as well, Greg. It's going to be Cam Beaubier leading down into turn 11, unless Herron has something to say about that. They get down in there. Look at SDK. He makes a move on Bobby Fong too. So SDK and Herron with very, very strong first laps.
Josh Herron looks over his shoulder on his Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati to see a visor full of Vision Wheel M4 X-Star Suzuki. Fong gets back around SDK as they go down into turn number 2. Beaubier still leading. Josh Herron, 125.898 from a dead stop.
So he gets the run through turn 6. We talked about that yesterday, how good he is going out of there and up the hill. And this is trusting the guys you're racing against as well, because he goes over that paint at the top of the hill on the brakes. Probably had to release the lever ever so slightly until he got back onto that tarmac and squeeze the lever enough to get this Ducati slowed down for the top of the hill. Now, will he attempt the same kind of move on Beaubier as they go and get themselves here into turn 6? We're going to keep an eye this time by on what the lap times are. Look at Herron again, Greg. Just does the exact same thing. Just has got so much speed, opens up the throttle. Look at Beaubier fighting right back as they go down up into the corkscrew. So Herron had that pass made, and Cameron wasn't going to have any part of it.
I mean, that was out of turn 6. We don't see that every day. He just drove around him.
Look at this. He's going to drive right back by, coming down Rainey into turn 10. Cam's going to try to take a shot right back at him as they go into 11. And you can see Herron, he's loving every part of this. And you can see both those guys, they come out of there. Herron knows he's in for a fight as Bobby Fong goes through. And Herron actually loves this kind of stuff, I think. Let's see what SDK does if he's able to square up Herron going down into turn 2. Not quite, but we're going to be fighting now, Greg. 25-1, 24-8 on our opening first lap. When these guys, we've seen them in the 23s.
Look at the battle going on in turn number 11. Josh Herron having a good time, shaking his head saying, all right, we're going to be battling it out. Let's duke it out. Let's see how it goes. But he loses a spot to Bobby Fong. And Cameron Beaubier had mentioned in the clip that we saw at the top of the show that he was stuck in those 24s. If no one fights with him this lap, we're going to see if improvements were made to that motorcycle. The BMW M1000RR, as he gets a little bit of wheel spin coming up the hill into turn number 6, does our number 6 Beaubier. And Bobby Fong trying to close the gap. Herron not close enough, at least in that initial, so he's going to slot into third. Stay there. Down the hill comes Cameron Beaubier. Fong with the fastest sector 3 so far of the race. Trying to chase down the number 6. Jamie?
Remember in race number 1, Cameron Beaubier went down, and then earlier today in race number 2, he didn't have a whole lot of confidence just because he didn't quite know what caused that accident earlier in the weekend. And so for him, during the course of that race, he was really just trying to fight through that and try and rebuild his confidence. I asked him out on the grid before this one, where are you at? And he said, I feel a little bit better, but still just struggling for some grip. He said if I can get through the opening couple of laps, maintain his position, it was going to give him something else to fight with at the end. And there goes Sean Dillon Kelly, another disappointing run, Greg.
Man, he just has not got much luck right now as he's in that lead fight again, and it looks like he's had a problem with his GSX-R 1000, so it's a shame for SDK. Back to this battle at the front though, Greg. Pace definitely isn't really fast. 24.4 that time for Beaubier. Quickest lap of the race. I know it's a little bit warmer out there, but you got to feel like this pace, does it feel a little bit slower to you?
It does feel slower there. We're doing 23s, but we also know it's a couple hours later.
Yep.
It's a little bit warmer. The sun's got, it puts a lot of heat in this racetrack as Herron once again just driving up the hill and will take over second spot. What we hear about SDK is lost the chain.
Lost his chain, yep, that's a bummer. And but man, Herron is just so good out of there. And let's see if he does the same thing again to Beaubier as they go down to turn 10.
Here comes Herron on the fight. Up the inside he goes into turn 10. A lot of camber in that corner. Beaubier trying to get the drive on him. He doesn't have it this time. And Bobby Fong was trying to make a move around Beaubier. So now Herron has what he wants. He has clear track in front of him. And this is where Herron, we expect him to drop the pace into the 23s if he has clear track. But 24.2 for Herron after having to make that pass at
Twice.
a 24.8. Yeah, on Beaubier.
Two guys, right? He passed Bobby and he passed Cam in that lap. So let's see if that pace drops a little bit more. And for Josh, we heard him say in the press conference that once Bobby went by him, you see here, this is the problem with SDK. So yeah, he lost his chain and
you see it on the ground.
Super frustrating.
Yeah, I saw it flopping around.
It can be dangerous too when that thing, if it flies off. I've seen them fly off into the path of other riders, so glad it was okay there. A lot of frustration now for SDK.
A lot of preparation, a lot of hard work. You can see no chain on that rear sprocket. And this sport is full of emotion, and you see it pouring out right there on a tough weekend for SDK 40. Back up to the front as the number 1.
Interesting part, Greg, is that our timing scoring is not really lighting up with red like we would normally see. So you mentioned a couple of these guys said yesterday as it got hotter, track got a little slicker. But again, look at how good he is through rainy corner down through here. Bobby Fong now taking a shot at Beaubier. He knows he does not want to let Josh Herron just get comfortable. And for Cam, let's see if Cam can hang on to the back of these guys for at least like the next 10, 12 laps and give himself a little bit of confidence for something maybe late in the race.
All right, so 24.6, 24.6 and 25 flat for Beaubier. Again, 25 flat for Jake Gagne, who's in 4th place, about 1.8 seconds behind. You can see Gagne just off in the distance. That's his personal best. This might be the pace just because of the heat. It might be the pace because this is our 3rd Superbike race of the weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, these riders are in shape, they're fit. I did talk to Jake Gagne, and I just mentioned, when you have a triple header like this, we only have 2 a year, do you train any differently heading into it? And he said, no, not really. We're fit enough where we should be able to do these races, but you're still huffing and puffing at 20-lap race. And when you have, 60 laps total of race action going on, they're definitely going to be feeling it tomorrow morning.
I think it would be a lot different if we were another, 8-10 degrees hotter out there. It would make it a little bit more difficult. But weather's been relatively mild. It's warm out, don't get me wrong, but it's not stifling warm. And we've had that here before at Laguna Seca. Coming down that hill there, it's just where those two guys up front seem to be able to pull away from Cam from the top of the corkscrew through Rainy Corner.
All front end. It's just, that's where, if you have a good front end, Beaubier's got the motor in the BMW without question. I just think a little bit of confidence on the front end. He's able to make a little bit up in turn 10. So now we get another look as Herron's second lap out front. 24.6, 24.5, and 24.7 for Beaubier. So the question is, as Beaubier tries to find some room to drive on Bobby Fong, Fong continues to take that super tight line.
But he's got to. He's got to release the lever when he tips in and let the bike roll. So when he picks the throttle up, the RPMs aren't too low. He can't take it to that point, Greg, and stop it and turn it the way Herron does it.
Attack Performance, Progressive Yamaha, the R1, a motorcycle under the tutelage of Richard Stamboli's team, has been so dominant for so many years with a couple of different riders. Now right back up front where we'd love to see this battle between manufacturers. Ducati leading, Yamaha in second, BMW in third. We have a Yamaha in fourth place and a Suzuki of Richie Escalante in fifth. Continuing to put in an impressive performance for Escalante with that hand injury.
And Gagne is running the same times. He just ran his best lap of the race at 24.7. So he's right around the same time as Beaubier and only a 1/10 of a second off of your race leader. So just at the beginning of the race, Gagne just gives up a little bit there, and he's, what is he, Greg? 1.9 back of Cameron that last time by. But again, these guys are rolling through. I'm having a look at so you can see there, they made that adjustment. We heard Josh talk about he didn't really know who was behind him in that first race, and you saw that he had the 50 on the board there. So his team has made that adjustment just to show him who it is, and it is Bobby Fong right behind him.
Working on 12.5 laps to go in this race. Josh Herron, where he wants to be out front, and there's right part of your screen, Sean Dillon Kelly walking back to the pits. He's going to get a ride. I know he's frustrated and disappointed, and he'll be thinking about that tail section definitely, as he cools down. But those things definitely happen. So 24.7s, 24.6s. Like I said, Jay, this might just be a function of the fact that we're 3 hours later than we were race number 1. But at least for Cameron Beaubier, he's there. The question is, does he have any more pace in him? As we'll look at the time he's going to lose down this hill. Right there, those two just eke away, but he's able to make it up in 11.
I know it doesn't look great, right, from Cam where he's at, but he's also going to give him a little confidence that these guys haven't just disappeared. They haven't just split, and there are places right now where Cam looks pretty good. He looks really good there in 11. Doesn't look bad in the first half of the lap either. And with Cameron, you can never tell if he's just hanging on or if he's just riding around, because he never looks stressed. And you can see here down into turn 2, he closes that gap back up, and this is going to give a rider a lot of confidence, thinking to himself, okay, they haven't just got in front of me and taken off and disappeared into the distance. And now he can start to strategize. Speaking with him earlier in the year, he makes a lot of adjustments to himself. And once he figures out, okay, whatever I was doing isn't working, maybe I can try this or try that. Cameron does a lot of that, as a lot of these guys do on the fly, but he's definitely one of those guys that has always seemed really, really good at that.
Little bit out of turn number 5, up to turn number 6. They're able to drive on Beaubier. But like Jay, you're talking about, see, the one thing about Beaubier is, even when you look at these 3 riders, Josh Herron's bike still moves around more than the rest.
Yeah.
Beaubier just puts his bike in a line, and he's able to get on with it. He might not be the most flashy rider to watch, but he is unbelievably talented. And down this hill, it's still a little bit of a gap, but a little less. So he's on board figuring things out, where Bobby Fong's eyes are all forward at this point. The question is, with this pace, 24.7s, when did Bobby Fong really want to actually put it through? If Fong's comfortable, and he's comfortable with Josh Herron leading, when do you think he would force the issue?
Well, I think he's probably going to wait another few laps. He sees +0 on his board, though, too. So Bobby's got to be a bit of a two-way thinker now. He's got to be thinking in front of him of who he wants or where he wants to get by Herron. and make that pass. He's also going to know that Herron's, he's going to know that Bobby might try turn 11 again. And while Bobby's thinking of some of that stuff, as we see, that's probably Bryce Cornbow is off. So it looks like he's okay at least. But Bobby's also going to know that +0 on his board is a many-time Superbike champion right behind him. So he's kind of in a sandwich of Superbike champs at the moment. So his brain's going to be active on what his plan is going to try to do here.
So 24.8 for the front two, 24.7 for Beaubier. So this is kind of the flow of a Superbike race oftentimes we see in MotoAmerica. First couple laps tend to be pretty frantic. People sort themselves out, settles down, and then we get to about 5 laps to go, and all of a sudden things start to escalate quickly. I like that line from Bobby.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah,
that line in the corkscrew for him just seemed like Bobby was flowing. Jamie?
And that flow is really something that Bobby's been working on over the course of the weekend. Remember, he got in the most laps through all of the sessions. And when it comes down to race pace, remember, he set that bike up for the second half of this race, making it his goal just to be better on cold tires at the starting point. And we've seen that here in the third race. He has so much confidence after getting that first win of the season under his belt, that weight lifted off of his shoulder. If he can keep defending here, we can maybe see him with another strong podium result.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it seems like this race is playing into the hands of all three of these riders.
Right.
Isn't that weird, like, to say that?
It is. It's kind of funny.
Herron's out front. He's setting the pace, and he wants to control it. He's now backed it down to 125 flats. Bobby Fong's just following him around, doing what he needs to do. And Cameron Beaubier, I think, is building some confidence with the setup that he has underneath him. And this is giving him an opportunity to stay with these riders and start to figure some stuff out. All the while, unfortunately for Jake Gagne, that 2.5 second gap to third place, he's doing the same time to the leaders back and forth, just not enough to bridge the gap.
Yeah, it's tough. And it is kind of a strange statement to say that all three of these guys are kind of in a spot right now where they're probably not too uncomfortable. You can see that gap is not as big through Rainy Curve as it's been between Bobby and Cam. And so that confidence that Cam's got to find, I really do believe he's got to come down the hill, because, Greg, even at this point, if he was to be leading right now, he would still make himself susceptible because of the pace the other two have from Rainy Corner down to 11. This is where Cameron gets a little bit better, comes up over the top of this hill, and he's able to draw into the back of these two guys as they break down into turn 2.
Yeah, he is really good on the brakes.
There's Gagne.
There he is, Attack Performance, Progressive Yamaha.
He's literally matching the pace. Like, those guys go 25 flat, he goes 25 flat. They go 24.8, he goes 24.8. So it's just it's a tough fight right now for Jake back there in fourth.
So Herron just dropped a couple more tenths. Bobby with a drive. Don't think he's going to do much right now.
Yeah, I think it's kind of ramping up, though. Like, Bobby's closing up on Josh a lot going into turn 5 there, as you see. And but this is again where Herron has been very, very strong going through this area here. Ducati just leaps off of there.
Passing at will, just crazy.
I mean, it was the passes he did early on new tires was pretty wild when he's able to roll up around the outside of people and things. So here you go down back through the corkscrew again, and Beaubier's back up behind them.
Down through Rainy. Beaubier not losing as much that time, but a bit of work to do by the time they get to 11. Josh Herron just choosing that little wider line to get a more of a straight shot down into 11 on the binders onto the straightaway. Now we'll see what Herron decided to do in terms of lap time this go around. 24.7.
Just consistently in those high 24s, isn't it? So it's just a
Bobby.
Yeah, Bobby was in there just backing it in just ever so slightly. And Cam runs a line a little bit like how Herron does it. He lets it roll out just a little bit. Bobby's much more straight lined, and talking to Stambole a little bit about that earlier. He was talking about how Bobby kind of turns in early, and Richard, I'd mentioned that to Bobby. The thing is that when you're comfortable as a rider, you find a spot where that bike is comfortable, and it might not be as comfortable for Bobby to open up the entries as much as he needs or as much as other people think. So as a rider, you kind of have your own way of thinking or doing things, and that's what's working for Bobby right now. And it took him to a win in race 2 earlier today.
Section of the track where Herron is magical right now. And Fong able to just stay exactly where he needs to stay. So it's Herron, Fong, Beaubier in that order. The number 1, the 50, and the 6. Gagne, Escalante back there in 5th. JD Beach battling with his teammate Hayden Gillum again. So Beach off of a 4th and a 7th. We talked to him at the top of the show. In 6th place, another good result for him. Good to see Benjamin Smith out there in 8th place. Danilo Lewis in 9th, and Ashton Yates in 10th place.
Escalante and JD Beach are locked in it as well right now. So JD running 6th, Richie running 5th. We know he's hurt. Kind of a bummer to see that at the beginning of the weekend, but you can see the board there for Richie. And the reason he's got plus 10.8 on his board is because I think that's, yeah, he's got a big gap over Hayden Gillum. That not really, I don't think they're looking at JD because JD's on the stock, you know, kind of a stock 1000
yeah,
bike.
he is. It's a stock 1000 bike. He's in Superbike Cup. It's still a finish on the racetrack, but for the Vision Wheel M4XR Suzuki, that's a GSXR 1000, a full-blown Superbike. Suzuki's factory effort here in the United States. And Escalante with that hurt right hand, little wheel spin for him. But Escalante, really solid performance. And he's going to need a little bit of time off before VIR to rest that hand.
All the top 4 guys just now did 24/7s, every one of them. And it's just a, we could have had we really could have had a 4-way battle here. I think Bobby's ramping up here. He's got to make a move soon. He did it with about 6 laps to go last race, and we're getting into that window where we're going to have 6 laps to go this next lap through. He might decide, Greg.
Might be right now. Up the inside goes Bobby Fong. So he takes his Yamaha R1 to the lead. Herron's going to get on the gas. And he got a good drive, though. Not a lot of wheel spin for Herron, although he does have a look over his shoulder to see where his championship rival is. Down bottom of turn 2 they go. And so Fong doesn't get passed back. So here comes Bobby Fong. Now, does he have some 23s in him this late in the race with 6 laps to go in Superbike race number 3?
And this is where, if Herron really wants to go after this win, he's not going to worry about Beaubier behind him at the moment. But if he starts getting defensive and Bobby can kind of ride where he wants, I'm saying if Herron gets defensive so that Beaubier doesn't pass him. You hear Herron talking very openly about the championship, and he's very cognizant of the points. Whether it's 3 points, 2 points, whatever he's trying to get, he just wants to finish ahead of the number 6. So Bobby right now can race forward. Let's see if these lap times come down. 24.9 the last time by, 25.2. So now these two guys, if Bobby starts dropping the hammer and gets back down into the low 24s, that's when we're going to have to see if Cam Beaubier can go with him.
Ooh, rocket out of the bottom of the corkscrew for Bobby Fong. And there's Herron.
Herron's really moving around a lot.
Yeah. And he has not given up. I mean, he wants this win if Bobby isn't able to get away.
But you can kind of see what happens here. Bobby's kind of dropped the hammer. He's trying to put in some qualifying laps on a tire that's, 14 laps used, 13 laps used. Let's see what this is. This is going to be a 24.5. So that's about the fastest lap they've done in the last, 5 or 6 laps, right?
Yeah.
So Bobby's trying right now to drop the hammer. Here's Gagne coming across, 24.8. Last time through for Beaubier, he was at a 25.2. So, Gagne's going to keep trying, but you can see already, Greg, can't you? This little bit of separation. The 3 guys are further apart. Bobby's dropping the hammer. I expect this to be a lower 24 this next time through. And I think that might just be a little bit too much pace. So Herron will do everything he can now to try to hold off the number 6.
Jamie, what do you have in the number 1?
Well, that was really what Jason just said. What can he do to keep the number 6? That's Cameron Beaubier. Behind him, championship points. That's what's on the line.
I don't know if Herron has spent enough time behind Beaubier to know that he's a lot stronger than Cam down through Rainy Corner. So, but you can see 24.5 again. It was a full second difference between Bobby Fong and Josh Herron. So right now, Herron is just trying to make himself as wide as he can and make it very difficult for Cam. I think this plays into Beaubier's hands a little bit. I think if Josh kept his head down, but again, Greg, it could be a physical thing too for Josh. He's on the 3rd race. We know he's not 100%.
No.
And so maybe he's just physically starting to fight it a little bit right now.
Yeah, he hit the deck really hard on Friday, and he tumbled through the gravel trap, did the old head feet thing, strained his neck, and so there's some other things going on. He mentioned his hand going numb fighting the bike, earlier today. So He's going to enjoy a couple of weeks off before we head to VIR for our next race is Josh Herron to heal up. So Cameron Beaubier trying to figure out if he's got anything to throw at.
Man, he's so close. I mean, this is as close as we've seen Cam all down through this section, but you know, Herron passed him down into turn 10 earlier, and but Cam looks like he's found a little something down all through here even. But Bobby Fong is gone, Greg. With 4 laps, three laps to go this time through. Bobby Fong is really trying to cement his second win of the day here.
Ducati getting off the corner well, but Beaubier is so strong into turn number 2. I think if Beaubier was able to get a couple of bike lengths closer down into 2, I think we'd see a shot earlier on. Like, you know, it's only 2.5 laps to go in this one. Lap traffic on the outside. Bobby Fong now 2.1 seconds ahead of Herron.
I mean, again, it was almost a full second, and that said, Jake Gagne was 0.6 quicker than these 2 guys here. You can see him just off in our background, and I'm sure he's wishing that there was about 6 more laps to go, because the pace of these guys going to high 25s now, 25.7. I mean, just to put that in perspective, Richie Escalante in 5th was actually quicker than these 2. JD Beach was almost the exact same time as these 2 in 6th place, and they're quite a ways back at this point. So
yeah, but you have to wonder if you think that Herron's trying to invite Beaubier like he did in race number 1, or if Beaubier's thinking, all right, look, if I go by him too early, if I have something for him, if I go by him too early, he knows that Herron's just going to fight.
I think they're both struggling a little bit. I think the one's struggling with a little bit of physical, and I think the other one is just struggling with just a little bit of setup. You see Herron just starting to creep away, and look what happened here. Sector 3, Herron just ran his personal best Sector 3 on this lap, and that's created that gap. And he's going to see his board now say 2 to go, and that will give him so much motivation to just try to hold Beaubier off. And let's see what this time is. 24.9 for Bobby, 24.8 for Herron. So Herron just slowed the pace up, and now he's dropping the hammer again.
Look, WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca does not give you a lot of opportunities to rest at all. It's not like MotoAmerica where you go and you can take a breather on the straightaway. And so maybe for Herron, like physically you're saying, he's feeling a little bit, and he just had to catch his breath for a couple laps in the 25s, and then he starts back into the high 24s. And for Beaubier, like you're saying, Jay, a little bit on the struggle bus late in this race. Just doesn't have confidence in the grip he's getting from his Dunlop tires with his current motorcycle setup. So it's strung out a little bit. Bobby Fong still maintaining a 2-second lead over Herron, now down to 1.9. This isn't over for Josh Herron. If he's got the magic that he has coming up this hill, that gap might go down to about 1.7 or 1.6 when we hit our next sector split.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for him. Right now, Herron will take these 20 points, bank them, and head on out to Virginia, try to get his body back to where it needs to be. And but for Bobby Fong, you know, this is his weekend to shine at the moment. He had some great opportunities yesterday, Greg, ends up second. Team makes him a little bit more comfortable, worked on some things. Past Herron with about 6 or 7 to go this morning. Does the exact same thing here, and he's controlling the pace. 24.9, 24.3 for Herron that time through. So Josh still has a lot of pace underneath him. He just ran only a 10th off his best lap. So
yeah, pretty incredible.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's not over, so it's down to 1.5 for Herron. This is the white flag, final lap of race number 3 at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, Superbike category, 2025. Fong has a look over his shoulder, doesn't see anything. And by the way, Josh Herron, fastest sector 3 of his race, and the fastest sector 4 of the entire race.
Overall, huh?
25.3 in that sector.
Yeah.
So Herron's put on a huge push. Whether it's to go catch Bobby Fong or to get away from Cameron Beaubier, we don't know.
I think it's kind of what it is. It almost looked like he kind of slowed the pace down when he was in front of Cam, and then he was just going to put this last little charge in at the end and get this second place. And for Bobby, you know, it's great. He's not out of this championship. You know, we haven't talked about him because we've been so dialed in on these 2. We're going to some tracks I think this R1 is going to be pretty amazing at. So I think VIR is going to be a good spot. But Bobby, bring him home, Greg.
Here comes Bobby Fong onto the front straightaway, looking to do a double for his team. The Attack Performance Progressive Yamaha rider brings it home and grabs victory. Josh Herron in second, Cameron Beaubier in third. Jake Gagne will come across the stripe 1.3 seconds behind Beaubier in fourth place. And how about this soldier? Injured hand and everything, bringing it home for the Vision Wheel M4X Star Suzuki team in fifth place. JD Beach ends up just 3 seconds behind in sixth. A good job by the 95. His teammate Hayden Gillum in seventh. Benjamin Smith comes across the stripe in eighth place. Good for Benjamin Smith and the Flow for Law SBU racing team. Good solid results that they need. Danilo Lewis in ninth place and Ashton Yates rounding out your top 10. Well, it's Bobby Fong, Josh Herron, and Cameron Beaubier. We're going to get to hear from them on the podium once again when we get back to WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca.
We're going to be expecting some big celebrations down at the podium with the local boy, Sacramento boy, Bobby Fong, taking his second win of the day here in Laguna Seca. Wow, impressive. Let's start on Bobby because, you know, he's really coming through and he's not out of the championship race yet, is he, Roger?
No, I mean, you never know what can happen, especially in racing, and Bobby had a great weekend. And you know, he mentioned after the second race this morning when he won, like a weight has been lifted off his shoulders. You know, Bobby's gone to a team that's won a lot of titles, won a lot of championships, a team that's won a lot of races. They expect wins, and when you go there, you put a lot of pressure on yourself to deliver, and Bobby was able to deliver that. Now he just has to keep going and see how many of these in a row he can get.
He is delivering for that factory racing team, that is for sure. Josh Herron, he's probably going to come away happy with this weekend. I know he's used to winning, but given what he had to deal with all weekend with the new bike, with the injury, he's going to be very tired, isn't he? But he's got those points that he needs to stay well on top of the championship.
Yeah, and for him, he fought as hard as he could. He just didn't have it toward the end of this race. Bobby was a little bit better, but I think for Josh, his big target is to beat Cam and to extend that points lead. And he'll be a little disappointed, I think, just because Josh loves winning. And when you get used to winning, it's always tough to come back and get second.
But mature riding from him, given what he had to deal with. And at least he gets some time to recover now. By the way, I loved seeing him nodding his head as him and Cam Beaubier were just passing each other back and forward early in the race. He loves a good race, doesn't he? Some riders might kind of prefer not to have to battle that hard, but he seems to really enjoy that aspect of racing.
Oh, yeah, he loves the battle, and he's really good in those battles as well, and that's probably why he likes them as much. And you see that smile on his face. This was a big weekend for Josh after what happened on Friday afternoon, such a big crash, and then come here toward the end of the weekend and extend that points lead.
So sad to see Sean Dillon Kelly with the broken chain, especially after coming fourth in the race earlier and having the unlucky crash in race one. Broken chain, nothing that's his fault. It's just something that can happen to anyone, right?
Yeah, there's nothing he could do, and sometimes things like that just happen. Parts don't always, you know, work like you want them to, and unfortunately for Sean, it put him out of the race, and he was riding really well. But the one thing he can take from that is he had the pace, he was riding well, now he just has to carry that on to Virginia.
Indeed he does. Well, that is your podium for Superbike Race 2, and it is the same as we had, for Race 2 earlier. Coming up next, it will be the podium and then Mission King of the Baggers.
Just off the Monterey coast, we're at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, where round 5, race 3 just wrapped up as Bobby Fong gets to come in to the winner's circle with a big dub again for Fong, his 7th career Superbike victory. Let's take a look at those results. Fong with the win, and then Josh Herron less than a second behind him. Beaubier in 3rd place. Then Gagne Escalante, JD Beach, the first of our Superbike Cup finishers, in 6th. Let's get right down to Jamie.
And Bobby Fong just stepping away for one last hug. You said it after that last race victory. Now back-to-back race wins. That weight was off of your shoulders. You knew you had the pace there at the end of the race. How much confidence did that give you to battle out in this one?
Man, it was slippery out there. It was, I could see these guys sliding a lot, and you know, this thing just likes to roll out there, and We rode good. The bike, honestly, the bike's making me look good. Honestly, the bike's making me look good. So I'm happy to get the double today, and looking forward to catching up a little bit in points. But man, I'm happy. My attack performance, Progressive Yamaha, man, give it up to those boys, man. It's one of the hardest working teams in the pits, and looking forward to the next race.
Congratulations on 2 wins in a row now for Bobby Fong, and for Josh Herron as he collects a kiss from wife Rachel. Congratulations on another solid points day for you, Josh Herron. Jokingly, when you took the helmet off your team, did you run out of steam in the middle? You said you just didn't think you had enough to be able to fight with Bobby. But in terms of risk versus reward, where were you at?
Yeah, you know, I saw Bobby come by. Honestly, when he went by, I kind of opened my mouth earlier to Kyle, my pitboard guy. I told him, hey, let me know who it is. But he had ×2, so I was like, all right, there's 2 guys. Then it went to ×50, so I'm like, okay, it's just Bobby. So if he comes underneath me, I'm good. I looked over my shoulder. Cam surprised the hell out of me. So from that point on, I kind of thought I'd try 1 or 2 laps, keep up with Bobby, and if I couldn't, then I would just kind of put the anchor down, see what Cam did with me. He didn't do anything, so kept sitting. Then 2 laps to the end, figured I'd pull the trigger, try to go, and yeah, it worked. So I'm pretty stoked to get a first in 2 seconds this weekend after one of the scariest crashes I've had in a long time. Got to give it up to my guys for building me a perfect backup bike overnight on Friday for us to go and get the win. So thanks to the whole Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati team. Thank you to this crowd. I sold $12,000 in merch this weekend. I see so many Heron hats, so many Heron shirts. So just got to give it up to everybody here. Love this place, and yeah, happy to go to Mid-Ohio and try to get another double like we did last year.
A lot of positives to take away from this weekend. For Josh Herron on the hunt for those championship points. For Cameron Bobier, had so much speed during qualifying. Their pole sitter for all 3 of the races here this weekend, but then confidence became the struggle for you. You looked a little bit more stable here today. How do you feel with another podium?
Yeah, you know, I'm happy to be up here, but man, it's tough not to fight those guys towards the end. Yeah, we felt pretty good on new tires pretty much all weekend, besides Friday, but yeah, the last 2 days. And then once they dropped, we were struggling really bad to keep up with these guys. But hats off to Bob. He rode incredible all weekend. It's pretty, you know, as much as I want to win, it's pretty awesome to see another NorCal boy up on top. And also Josh rode incredible this weekend, and yeah, we got some work to do, and yeah, we're gonna go back, work hard. I'm sure the team's gonna come up with something for the next round, and like these guys said, hats off to all the fans for coming out. It's always you know, my favorite weekend of the year, and yeah, go get them at the next round.
Congratulations on the podium, Greg.
Yeah, and we know they're going to be putting their heads down because we got a couple of up and down tracks on the calendar coming after this. Well, for Bobby Fong, he does the double, and we're going to find out how this point situation finds itself after this.
It's certainly still tight at the top of that championship, and despite Cam Bobier not getting the wins that he's used to at Laguna Seca, by the way, 18 podiums, 18 for Cam Bobier over the years, it's still tied at the top of the championship, and Bobby Fong also in that mix. And it was great to see some of the others also doing well in that race. Some of those who perhaps have also struggled over the weekend with bikes breaking and all sorts. We had Richard Escalante in 5th, Hayden Gillum in 7th, and also Ben Smith in 8th. So some good results. People will go home happy.
Yeah, and that's great for Benjamin with some of the problems that they had this weekend to come here and end up inside the top 8 and finish that race 3 strong. And, you know, that's a big weekend for that young team to be able to have 3 Superbike races and try a lot of different things throughout the weekend. JD Beach did great on the Stock 1000. Great to see him battling inside the top 7 both races. Just really impressive what he's been able to do. And Richie Escalante, tough crash on Friday, hurt his hand. Came in pretty wounded. They didn't even know if he'd be able to ride on Saturday. He set out the rest of that first qualifier on Friday morning and just was consistent and made sure he's seen the checkered flag with a couple 5th places.
Indeed, and let's not skip over Jake Gagne, the other member of Attack Performance Yamaha for this Superbike race. Now having to get used to Bobby Fong coming ahead of him. How's that going to affect him?
Yeah, I think it will elevate him. And for Jake, he was a little bit closer this race. And, you know, solid weekend for him, but he wants to be closer and he wants to fight. You can see it in his interview before the race. He wants to get up there and get in that battle with these three. And he's able to do it. He's coming back from a tough year, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time. But Jake will be there before the end of the year.
Indeed, we have seen too many championships from him. He is still coming back a little bit from that carpal tunnel syndrome, but getting better and better as time goes on. One thing I loved to hear from Josh Herron was that he was still trying to keep up with Bobby Fong, then made the strategic decision to just fight for those title points given the injury he had earlier this weekend. But when it came down to the finish, he decided to pull away with not 1 lap to go, but 2. That's a good race strategy, isn't it?
Yeah, he knew where his point was, and when he made the point that with the pass, it was really important for him to put his head down and pull that gap and not give Josh that opportunity to take that shot at him. So Bobby did a great job, earned that win today. It's great to see him on top.
Indeed. Well, these boys have had 60 laps of racing and then all the qualifying and the warm-up as well, so they deserve a well-earned rest.
MotoAmerica Superbikes is brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series. By Law Tigers, America's motorcycle lawyers. And by NXT Bets. Play MotoAmerica for cash, multiple race classes, live on top sports books and DFS platforms all season long.
Race 3 happened, and then it finished. But here's how it was.
Yeah, it was Beaubier that was going to lead the first few laps here. Herron made some big moves at the beginning to get himself from 4th, Greg, all the way up to the lead as you see him go around the outside of Beaubier here. Beaubier would go back underneath down into turn 11, and then he'd lose a spot to Bobby Fong as well. SDK there early until this, Greg, a lost chain, such a bummer for him. And then Herron makes a move again on Cam Beaubier. Fong would do the exact same move a few laps later. Then he would try to go up underneath Herron, make that pass stick. And again, it was Bobby Fong that would just clear off out into the distance. Herron does a great job his final 2 laps, dropping the hammer, as he says, and goes like a 10th off of his best lap. But for Bobby Fong, 2 wins on a Sunday. He is going to be one happy guy as we get ready to head to Virginia in a few weeks.
Yeah, and he's turned some heads, too, as to them getting this motorcycle dialed in. As podium celebrations happen, we will come back to WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca for more.
Josh Herron and Bobby Fong.
Get ready to eat like a king with Mission Foods. Load up those saddlebags for Mission King of the Baggers Racing and feed your need for flavor. Fully loaded tacos, fast wraps, piled high nachos. Whatever you crave, Mission will help you be race ready with easy-to-make recipes that will take your race day to the finish line. Keep your racing delicious and enjoy all the mouth-watering action. Brought to you by Mission Foods. Too fast, too tasty.
A new race season for me represents opportunity.
Kyle Wyman in our first race of 2025.
No matter what, it's not loser cool.
Thanks for good TV.
Wyman turns it left and wins the race.
They built me a fast Harley Davidson.
It just kind of surpassed all my expectations as far as handling and actually rideability. It's really impressive.
This bike handles in the mountains like no other bike I've ever ridden.
Sport bike, American touring bike. It's a great hybrid of the two.
It sits down in the road when you hit that throttle and you just take off for the sunset. It drops into that flow and you're gone.
Welcome back to MotoAmerica Live Plus. If you like your Harley-Davidsons and your Indians, well, this is the race for you. It is the final race of our Laguna Seca weekend. What a weekend it's been, Roger. So much excitement. But now we have one of the fan favorites and something that makes MotoAmerica so special. It is King of the Baggers. What are you expecting, Roger?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see if Hayden Gillum had some issues yesterday in the race. If they can get his bike fixed, is he going to be able to bring that fight to Kyle Wyman? We want to see these guys dice it out.
Indeed. Kyle Wyman, Harley-Davidson Factory Racing. He's in winning form at the moment. He is certainly top of the standings, so all eyes will be on Kyle. Let's hand it over to Jason Pridmore and Greg White.
Point standings have Beaubier 31 behind Josh Herron, who scored 65 of 75 on offer. But here comes Bobby Fong, only 6 points behind Cameron Beaubier. This championship is getting very interesting at the midway part of the season. Next up, August 1 through 3, we're at Virginia International Raceway in Alton, Virginia. We can't wait to see you then. Take care.
Throttle 8K action with Insta360 X4. Gear up and capture every angle. Find your best shots after filming. Smoother, sharper action. Pair your headset for clearer audio. And let it roll as you ride. Removable lens guards for easier protection round the clock. The ultimate action camera for motorcyclists.
We fight for the rights of riders every day. We give back millions to support the motorcycle community because we are riders, and motorcycle law is all we do. If you're injured in a motorcycle accident, don't fight the insurance companies with just any lawyer. Call 1-800-4BIKERS. We ride, we care, we win. If you go down, call Russ Brown. Motorcycle attorneys.
There are places that come to life when the sun goes down. Bring on the night. Even the most traveled roads transform in the darkness. The destination may be unknown, but our common bond is evident. The Law Tigers get it. As riders, we live it every day. We're by your side day or night and watch over our own. That's why if you're injured in a motorcycle accident, call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS or visit lawtigers.com. The Law Tigers, America's motorcycle lawyers.
Introducing Spectro Performance Oil's heavy-duty product line. Engineered not just for performance, but for endurance. Spectro offers leading engine, transmission, and brake fluid products, which are proudly made in the USA since 1966. Performance, reliability, quality, and tradition. Because every ride should feel as smooth as the first.